Psychiatric near-death experience. Okay, so, honey, I want to ask you about your near-death experience. Okay, so...
You have to bear with me. You have a little bit of a cold today.
About how long ago was this?
This was about 8 years ago, 7 years ago.
Okay. And do you mind sharing some of the details as to what led up to your near-death experience?
Well, I was taking care of my mom because she had died of... Well, she was getting ready to die of cancer. And so I was taking care of her, and that's just after a year and a half of taking care of her with chemotherapy and all that. You know, and me and my mom had a really cool relationship, too. So it was like... It was like I wasn't expecting like that to hit me as hard as it did.
Yeah, well, you guys were very close.
Yeah.
You know?
So when that happened, it just kind of threw me all off balance and off center, and I was just really like lost and confused, and
so you kind of
and I was angry, and it was like really truly the first person that was really truly close to me pass away, and I just wasn't expecting that kind of a loss, like that kind of like what the toll is it takes out on you when you have that kind of loss. Mm-hmm. And so years or months.
So would you say you like sunk into a deep depression?
Oh yeah, it was no doubt about it. It was a deep depression for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And especially when like I didn't have any of the safety nets most people have. Like you have family around, you have friends around and all that, but I didn't have any of that at that time.
Yeah.
And
well, I know your dad wasn't a real strong sense of support.
No, my dad wasn't there. He was off at his girlfriend's most of the time, and my brother was with his family, and my sister was doing her thing, and so there wasn't any support from any of the family, really. And, you know, so I became suicidal because of all that, and it's like, not that I had thought, I mean, like I've up until that point, I thought, oh, well, I have a pretty good life. I've had a pretty good life, so this would be a good way to, now I could check out, and, like, you know, I've done everything I wanted to do, and made all the friends I wanted to make, so I thought.
So you decided like life wasn't.
Yeah, no,
living.
I picked a day. Yeah, I picked a day where I decided, okay, I think today is a good day for me to die, and it's a beautiful day. I want to do it on my own terms. I went that morning and I bought a knife because I was going to cut my arms open, so I went and bought a knife at the store, a brand new knife, a good one, a really sharp one, and then I went to the beach and I watched the sun go down. And then I decided to ride my bike, because I was on my bike. I decided to ride my bike through the hills, back up towards my dad's and mom's house, my dad's house, really now. And I thought, oh, this park, I ended up in this really nice park, and there was just nobody for miles and miles around that could bother me. And so I decided, because it was getting late at night, so I decided that's where I would do it.
And so you didn't have any second thoughts? You were just really deep?
No, I was ready to go do it.
You were just really deep in that depression that you were like, this is what I'm doing.
This is it. I mean, this is it. This is how I want to go out. This is the night I want to do it. The stars were all out, and it was a beautiful night. And that's when I decided to do it, on my own terms, you know?
Uh-huh.
And so... You know how, like, in the movies when people slice their arms open, it's like they show them slicing their arms open, and then a few minutes later, they're dead. Well, not the case for me, okay? I'll tell you right now, not the case for me. And that's not like the movies. You don't sit there. It's like it took hours for the blood to bleed out of me. And I waited, and I waited, and I was so frustrated because I cut my arms open, and I was bleeding. And I was like, you know, I was watching the blood, a pool of blood grow around me bigger and bigger.
And you were outside in a park.
And I was outside in a park, and I was thinking, oh, good, this is like lots of blood pooling up. I mean, it shouldn't be long now. I should pass out pretty soon from losing all my blood, and it'll be over, and I'll be happy, you know? Well, not the case. It kept bleeding, and the pools kept getting bigger and bigger. And I'm not even tired. I'm like as wide awake as can be. And I'm all, this, did I not do this right? I started to doubt, like, you know, even though I could, like, see the bone of my arms. I mean,
really?
I'm all like, did I not? Yeah, I went all the way down to the bone of my arm.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I know you've got some pretty big scars on both arms, too.
Yeah.
I see. So you were really determined.
Yeah. No, I was determined. Definitely. And then so this pool of blood, and I'm just looking up, and now I'm questioning God.
Do you think it really was hours, or did it just feel like hours?
Oh, it took a long time for that blood to build up to that big of a pool. Yeah, no, it took a long time. But I gotta tell you, wasn't feeling like I was nauseous. I wasn't sick. I wasn't passing out.
And at that point, you weren't like thinking, "Oh my God, what have I done?"
It took so long that now I'm having second thoughts.
Okay.
Because it's like now it's taken like over an hour. It's been like we're going on 2 hours now, and I'm thinking like, this isn't at all like how the movies portray this.
Now, were you in a hidden spot in the park?
Oh yeah. No, there was no way nobody could have found me or anything.
Okay.
If it would have been like the movies and I would have passed out and then died, it would have even taken a while for people to find me.
And had you written a note or anything?
No, didn't write a note, nothing. I just wanted to go out peacefully, and it was a nice peaceful day to do it. I picked a certain day, I picked a certain time. It was all of my own planning,
Mm-hmm.
And so I was really frustrated, and I start talking to God while I'm there, and I'm just all like, I mean, like, why are you putting me through this? What's going on here? And the weirdest thing happened. So I'm sitting there, and I'm frustrated, and the blood is still pouring out of my arms, but now I'm starting to notice all sorts of weird things around me are starting to happen, and I'm all like, this is just like, I can feel like a weird change. And now I'm really starting to doubt myself, like whether maybe I should get up and try to get help now. Maybe I should call for help. I had a phone with me. Maybe I should call for help.
Did you feel like you were getting lightheaded? Or
nothing. No, none of that. No, none of those symptoms.
So that feeling that you had where things were starting to change, was it like kind of like being high? Or was it?
No, it was like I started to have second thoughts.
Okay, but you were still totally coherent.
Totally coherent, not even ready to black out, even though I had lost half my blood. Mm-hmm. By now I had lost half my blood, and I noticed that I would get a little airheaded when I stood up, because I'd stand up and go, oh my God, maybe if I jog in place and pump the blood out faster, maybe I'll die faster. And so I'm like, I'm doing jumping jacks in the middle of this park, just trying to pump the blood out of me faster, and it's not working. Uh-huh. Blood's pumping out, but I mean, I'm not getting I'm not getting ready to pass out or anything even close to that. Wow. I'm just like, what's wrong with me? I'm wide awake,
Uh-huh. So you started talking to God.
And so I was asking God, like, can you just make this quick and easy, And that's when this coyote, of all things, so I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden this coyote comes up, and I've still got this knife in my hands too that I used to cut my arms with. I still got it in my hand.
Now, was this a metaphorical coyote or actual physical dog like coyote?
I'm almost certain it was a real coyote. It was a positive, yeah, because this coyote just sits there next to me, and it was like so. At first, I was scared because I thought, oh, this thing wants to eat my face off. It smells my blood, and it wants to eat my face off. And I'm talking to it. It's close enough to me now. It's as close to me as you are to me right now. Uh-huh. And I'm telling it, I'm going, oh, you're a really pretty looking animal, but, I've got a knife here, and I will stab you with it if you want to eat my face off. It's not going to happen, At least not while I'm coherent.
Maybe the coyote was waiting for you to die, so
maybe it could have been that. Yeah, it could have been that too. But it was just the weirdest thing. And so I'm looking at this coyote, and this coyote's just like beckoning me, and after a few minutes, the coyote gets up, but it only moved a few feet away from me. And I go, you are so, and now I'm talking to the coyote. I'm all, you're the weirdest thing, And it would get up, and it would move around, and then it would sit back a little further from me, and I noticed it was like beckoning me to follow this trail. And I thought, oh, maybe it's the bitch coyote trying to lead me into the pack so they could all take me down.
Right.
Because she wanted to lead me deeper into the...
So you felt like a definite sense that this coyote was trying to lead you somewhere.
Well, it was trying to lure me or lead me. I felt, just a weird... Because the weird thing was because it would stop and look up at me and was waiting for me to come. So I appeased it because I go, oh, you're trying to tell me something or something. You're trying to make me do something here.
Yeah. Just out of sheer curiosity.
Now I've got my curiosity peaking, and it's like I was just talking to God, like a few minutes before that happened.
So you did have a sense of realization, like, wow, is this some kind of sign?
God, and then I started remembering the Bible and everything, and how God had used animals, barn animals, to talk to Mary and to talk to Abraham and everybody, and so I thought, well, maybe God's trying to use this coyote, to do something, And so this coyote leads me down this path, and I'm also careful enough to realize that it could be leading me into a trap. But it was like no coyote I'd ever seen. It was actually like a really Normally coyotes are gray. Like
Scrawny,
in this
yeah.
area, like in the area Jennifer and me grew up in, normally coyotes are gray and scrawny looking and ugly, matty looking and
Yeah.
just ugly. But this coyote was actually like,
Fluffy and pretty.
it was pretty, and it was like almost like I thought it could have been a domestic dog.
Yeah, like
it
a
was
German Shepherd.
because it looked like it was taken care of, and I
Uh-huh.
go, this thing could almost be a dog, but it was a pure coyote,
Yeah.
total coyote. And so I followed it. I got up just out of pure curiosity. I get up and to appease it kind of, because it's sitting there waiting for me. And so I get up, and when I got up and moved a little closer, then it got up and moved a little closer, but then sat down again, like it wanted me to go further.
Yeah.
And I go,
Yeah.
now I'm thinking to myself, okay, this is definitely 100% without a doubt, this is a sign.
So you started following the
this coyote leads me through this down this path, and it was like, I've known this area all my life, and I was totally unaware of this side path you could take. It was a side path you could take, and and the funny thing is the side path leads me right to the fire station.
Oh.
And so I'm on the fire station door at like 3:30 in the morning, knocking on the door, and I got this knife in my hand, and my arms are bleeding.
Oh, no.
I looked like Carrie coming home from the prom,
Oh, my goodness.
and they opened the doors, they turned all the lights on right away, they lit up the whole place, and they're all, oh my God, and it was just so weird, and then they wrapped me up and best they could, and got in an ambulance, got me to the hospital, and then they did like 182 stitches on one arm and something like 90 stitches on this arm.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of stitches.
Yeah.
Okay, so fast forward. You've been
So
in the
then,
hospital
okay,
now.
so now because I had done that, of course, so I was in observation at the hospital for 2 weeks. Which wasn't so bad. I mean, it's like they were letting me do like these meetings every morning, because there were other people in there for the same thing, suicide attempts, and for people that were depressed, people that were like just not mentally, there were people far worse condition than my shape than I was in. When I first got there, I didn't really talk to anybody because
Yeah, you were still in your state of
I was in my state of depression. Now I'm mad at myself because I was mad at myself because I failed. I feel like I had failed. I felt like I'd failed trying to do that. And now I just have to tough it out. Now I have to live with this too. On top of that, I have to tell everybody in the family, on top of everything else, that this is what I did, which was tougher than anything. But they just couldn't understand it. They never could understand me. But so I had gone to. Then they had put me in this hospital, like this mental psychiatric ward for 30 days. I had to spend 30 days in there. And that place was a little bit more rougher. That was a little rough around the edges there. It's exactly what you would think a mental institution would be. And but the thing of it was they were plying all the patients with as many pills as they could just give them to sedate them and to keep them calm. And so that's what they basically did to me, is they just plied me with all these pills, and then they released me. They released me, but they released me with a bag of pills. They released me with 30 different pills I had to take. And so I was still super depressed, and I had no counseling. At least in the first hospital, I got a little bit of counseling, but then when they sent me to the psychiatric ward, there was no counseling.
Now, was this during your couch hopping period? Where you
you
weren't quite living on the streets, but you didn't have.
I was staying
a home
at
to
two
live in at
people's
the time.
houses. I was staying at.
Okay.
I was spending my time at two people's houses. At that time, I couldn't really go home because there was nobody at my house. My dad was in the process of getting rid of everything and just gutting the house and getting ready to sell it, I think, but he never did. And then
Okay, so they released you with.
They released me with these bag of pills, but they released me somewhere where I was having trouble getting home, even though I got a free bus pass, and they had equipped me with a few things I needed. But the funny thing was they'd given me all these pills to take with me. And so, I had warned them before I left. I go, do you think this is a good idea with the depression I'm in to give me a bag of pills? Do you think that's safe?
But they were antidepressants.
They were, most of them were antidepressants. Some were to help with my sleeping disorder and all that. Of course, when you're depressed, you're going to have weird sleeping pattern, because you're going to sleep when you're not ready to sleep, and you're going to be awake when you want to sleep. That all goes with depression. Anyway, so I couldn't find anywhere to go. Because I was in way a different part of LA that I wasn't familiar with. and I was like out of it, like mentally. I had bandages on my arms. I had a bag of pills, and I just had nowhere to go. And I was thinking, oh, maybe I could sell these pills and get some money to get a hotel room.
And we weren't in communication during this time.
No, I wasn't in communication really with anybody.
Yeah.
I was still I was so depressed over my mom still that I wasn't really talking to anybody. Not anybody, not even people that I was being familiar with on a regular basis at that time. Yeah. I wasn't even really talking to them, you know what I mean? So everybody kind of knew that there was something going on with me. Well, I did a stupid thing and I decided I would take all the pills, one day. So I did.
Was this spur of the moment, or was this another plan?
This was just a spur of the moment. Now, this was different. This wasn't planned out. This was just all of a sudden I'm walking down the street and I just got like an incredible urge, like, okay, that's it. Enough is enough. I'm not walking anymore. I'm not doing anything anymore.
You were like at your lowest, where you
I was just all like, okay, this is pointless. This is not this isn't where, I mean, I was just at, I was done. I was done. I was just done, and I just thought, okay, this is enough. This is all I can take, and this is I don't want to take anymore, and I don't feel like I have to, and I'm just going to be like a little baby and take all these pills and then go to sleep, So I took all the pills and.
Now, were you on the side of a busy road, or where were you?
No, I was on the side of a road, but then I took a turn into another little park area, and I sat on a bench and I was just waiting for it to kick in, and it was so funny because it was like a quiet park, not even a busy park or anything, and this police officer drove by, and I knew he was going to come and talk to me because he saw me on the bench, and I was kind of going in and out of it now because I'd taken over 100 pills, just all sorts of different kinds of pills I had, and they were taking their effect. It was definitely, I definitely was going in and out of consciousness.
Okay.
And so the officer comes up to me and he's all, "What's wrong with you?" And he's all like, "I see you're having trouble staying alert here." And I go, "Look, I'm just going to be honest with you. Open your hand." So he opens his hand and I hand him all the empty bottles because I had all the empty bottles still. I'm all, "Here's what I took. Here's my driver's license, and you got about 5 minutes because I'm not going to be awake much longer. I can't control it. I'm going to be out. Yeah. So you have all my information. Here's what I took. Here's my name, and you're going to have to try to get me to the hospital as quick as you can."
So at this point, you were thinking this was a bad idea, or
at this point I'm thinking it just was weird for this cop to of all the this because it's a weird off to the roads park.
Yeah.
For him to be driving through there and
it's
everything.
Like a neighborhood park, right?
But for him to be driving through there at that time of the morning, and this was like, at 7:30 in the morning or 8 in the morning, I'm doing this. And for him to be in that park, at that time, was just like, it was unusual. So that was another sign of me, the coyote was the first sign, and the second sign was that.
Okay, so you give him all the pills, he calls an ambulance?
No, he actually picked me up and put me in his car, and then took me off the road a little bit, and the ambulance came to us a little closer off when we got onto the main road.
You were so far back in the park.
He took me to the main road where the ambulance could find us right away. Yeah. And so I was in the back of the car, but he was funny because he kind of scooped me up in his arms and just carried me like a
strong.
Yeah, he was pretty strapping guy because
strong angel.
But I weighed nothing at the time, so he just picked me up like a rag doll and just carried me right to his car, and I was going in and out of conscious, and I told him.
So were you conscious on the
way
to the
and he's like kind of slapping my face, like, "Stay with me, stay with me, stay with me."
Or did you kind of pass out or fall asleep?
And then the last thing I remember at that time was the ambulance finally getting there, and that's it.
Okay.
And I don't even remember the ambulance ride or nothing, and then I was in a coma. And then I had slipped into a coma for 3 days.
Okay.
And so for 3 days, I wake up and what
happened when you were in what was your next conscious awareness?
Well, so I was in this coma, and it's like I went into this, and it was like, I don't know if it was like a near death. I can't really call it a near death experience because I wasn't dead. So, but I was like in this state where. I don't want to make it sound like it's just like some parts of some aspects of it were just like the movies. It's just like how like a lot of these people say.
So you didn't see a tunnel of white light or anything like that. No, I didn't. You just kind of woke up in another place.
No, I woke up and I was in an environment. I was in another environment. And
what was this environment like?
It was like just peaceful. It was like bright. It was very vivid. Everything was vivid. It was like HD. Everything was just HD. Almost like this sounds weird to say, but it was almost like a little too real. You know what I mean? Everything felt a little too real, and I couldn't just. You know how like sometimes you'll have a dream. You'll be in a dream. You'll be dreaming, and you can't distinguish whether you're in a dream or whether it's really
It's happening
at that
yeah.
time. You know,
Yeah.
it's like you can't tell. You know,
Yeah.
for a minute or like for a short time, I
So
couldn't.
did you have the awareness to ask yourself, like, where
Well-
am I? What's going on here? Or
Well, I woke up and I was in an environment I'd never seen before. It wasn't anything I could place, and I'm just all like, where am I? You know, this is weird. What's going on here? And it was just like really weird. And so right away I was kind of alert. So I could feel my adrenaline going because I was just alert because I couldn't picture where I was or I didn't feel. And I'm sitting there and I'm also thinking, am I dreaming or am I
Did
awake?
you have the sense of having a body, or did you have any?
I looked and I had a body and everything, and I could see things and so and I got this urge to like get up and start walking around and explore. I got this urge to explore, and there wasn't anybody else around, so I'm looking around, and it was just so weird because
like green trees.
I'm seeing trees, I'm seeing forest, I'm seeing like lakes and rivers, I'm seeing like I'm seeing like houses, I'm seeing like cabins and houses, and I'm seeing but just no life, like no animals, no humans, nothing. It was just it was like being in a and I thought that was just creepy. I'm all like looking around and like even for someone to like maybe somebody to point me to the right direction I should go in, but there was but I had this urge to get up and start exploring and looking around, but there was just nobody there. And so this little path leads me to this ravine that had like a little, like, it was the weirdest looking, like, one man looking boat in it, and like no paddles or anything like that, just nothing like to move the boat in any way. And I distinctively knew to get in the boat and sit in it. It was just weird. So I got in this boat, and I sat down, and it was just like a Disneyland ride. It was just like it started right up, and I start moving in this boat, and I'm going down this ravine, and then all of a sudden, like, the weather's kind of changing, and it's like, it was like the reverse of Wizard of Oz. We were going from color into black and white.
Oh, wow.
It was weird because everything was kind of getting darker and colder, and all of a sudden we're going through this weird part of the, like, ride, I want to call it, because it's like I think of it as a Disneyland ride. Yeah. And we're going through this weird part where, like, on the walls, like, we're going through, and there's, like, waterfalls going on each side of me, and the waterfalls are just nothing but, like, these scary, like, they're like faceless faces. It's like you can't make out. You can see that the mouths are open, and you can see that there's eyes, and then you can see there's a nose there, but it's kind of stretched. It's kind of like that one ghost movie where he's got the stretched out face, ghost face, Yeah. It's kind of like, it's like that. It's like their faces are like this, and they're like all kind of pulling out of the water,
like ghoulish looking.
Yeah, and it's like it's on both sides of me, and I'm still in the boat, and I'm still on, and I'm still. Yeah, because I couldn't understand what they were saying. I'm trying to make out what they were saying, and I can't. And it's like I could tell that it's like they're they're moans and they're like agony. There's like sounds of agony, and there's moans, and now I'm getting scared. Like, oh my god, I'm going to like hell or something. Yeah. That's what I'm getting scared. Yeah. Like, oh my god, this is the road to hell. Yeah. And now I'm in trouble.
Okay.
So how am I going to get off this ride?
Right. Okay.
But I'm still there, and like the weird thing was.
So did the boat just come to a stop, or?
Well, no, and I'm trying to communicate the whole time. I'm trying to communicate, like, as the faces are sticking out, and the boat's still moving. But I'm all like, "Can I help you?" I'm trying to see if I can help these people out of this agony they're in. And I'm all like, but I'm afraid to touch them. They're reaching out, but only half their body would kind of stick out, and then it would pull back in, and I'd pass them as they were trying to do this. So they would just fall back into the like the waterfalls of like just faces and. People in agony and screaming but moaning, like, and then all of a sudden, no sooner does that happen, then all of a sudden I'm out, and it's bright again, and it's light again, and I come up to this bridge, and I get out of the boat stops, and I get out, and I go over this bridge, and there's my mom standing there, my mom who had just passed away, and I'm like so and like at first I didn't recognize her. She's all beautiful and. Just like how she
was she younger, or
she was like in her 30s. She looked like she was probably in 30s or 40s, but young. The only reason I recognized her was because pictures that I had recognized her when she was younger that she had shown me, and so there she was standing there, and there were a few other people standing there too that I remembered that had passed away. A few of my friends were there, and You know, it was just like all of a sudden it was like a reunion, a family reunion kind of feeling, you know. And then, but my mom approaches me and like she comes into really like super phased. I mean, just phases into this perfect DH looking form, and it's a HD looking form, you know. And she starts telling me, she's like, "What are you doing here?" And I'm all like, "Mom," I'm all holding her, I'm all hugging her and holding her, and I don't want to let go. I'm all like, "Oh, I made it, yes." You know, I made it through this horrible play. It was worth it. It was worth it to go through that, to like get to here, you know. And I was all happy, and I'm all like, "I'm never gonna leave. We're gonna be together now. Let's, you know." And she's all, "What are you? You're not supposed to be here. This isn't right." She's all, "This is like, you're not supposed to, you're not," and I'm telling her, "You should have saw what I passed, you know." And she's like, "You weren't even supposed to see any of that. Like, well, that's not your time. This is all wrong. This is not how it's supposed to be. You haven't completed what you're supposed to do. You have so much more to do. You know, it's like, you're not even halfway done kind of thing. It's like, no, you have to go back, and I love you, but, you know, we'll see each other again kind of thing." And then my friends are all telling me the same thing. "Yeah, go back, you know." It's like, what are you doing, you know? We'll be here. We'll be waiting for you. We'll be here waiting for you.
Okay, so did you have a conversation with your mom? Because I remember you telling me this story before, that she said when you kill yourself, you didn't get to go where she goes, right?
Right. Well, so it was like, I don't know, because I don't believe in purgatory or any of that. Some people believe in purgatory, and I don't believe in any of that. You know what? I believe that the way I believe that Jesus absolves you of all your sins, and, you know, and that's how I believe that. God, that's why God sent His Son here, was to take care of all that. You know, so you don't go to you go to heaven. You get to be with your family again, and I believe, or your spirit goes and turns, and it's like, really, it's truly, I believe that it's a light, and everybody's in this light, and you know, and
okay, so you're standing there and you're talking to her,
and she's telling me to go back, and it's like, I'm, "Oh, no, I don't want to go back." But everybody's telling me, "Go back. You got so much you have to finish, and you have to. There's so much more you have to. You know, you have a path cut out for you, and you have to complete it. And no matter what you do, no matter how you try to hasten it, you're always gonna. You know, you could try to kill yourself, but they were telling me how, like, you're not gonna kill yourself, because you're not, until you finish until you finish what you're supposed to do. You're not gonna get to die." So that made sense to me, because I'm like, that's why when I cut my arms open
with the coyote
and with everything, I wasn't dying, because there's nothing, when you go, I firmly believe when it's your time to go, that's your time to go.
It's not your time.
You know, you might have bought a day or two.
So now, did it feel like you were there for 3 days, or did it feel like just a moment?
Oh, it felt like 3 minutes, all of 3 minutes. It was just this really quick kind of like roundabout ride thing. I call it a Disneyland ride, because that's what it felt like. It felt like a ride at Disneyland. It really did. You know, it felt like going on Pirates of the Caribbean.
I was going to say it's a small world.
Yeah, no, it felt like Pirates of the Caribbean kind of thing, or something like that. It was really weird. You know, and
so
I thought,
did you get back in the boat?
No, okay, so that was the funny thing. So then everyone's telling me their goodbyes, and I'm all, "No, I don't want to." I'm being selfish, and I'm all, "No, I don't want to leave. I don't want to have to complete I want to be here with you guys. I made it. You know, it's okay. I don't need to go back. You know." And no sooner did I say that, all of a sudden I'm waking up, and
you don't remember the trip back. You just remember.
No, there was no trip back. It was like instantly. I was just waking up in the hospital, and then that's when I woke up, and there was the Catholic nuns there, praying over me to wake up. And then it's funny, because, mind you, they were Catholic nuns praying over me when I woke up, and they were all, "Oh, we're so happy, you know, we thought you were gone, or, you know, it's been 3 days." And
now, did you remember all this as soon as you woke up? Did you
every
just
bit
wake
of it?
up?
Oh, every bit of it, and I was so glad, because I told the one nun, who happened to be the mother superior of all the nuns. I asked her, you know, "Can you come stay with me? You know, can you come visit me for the next couple of days? I need to talk to you." And so I told her about the whole story, and I told her about how I'd gone on this, you know, weird trip, you know, while I was in a coma, and I knew it was. And I asked her, "Do you think it was a near-death experience? Do you think it was some kind of godly thing?" And she's all, "Definitely. It has overtones of having a godly experience and having like a near-death experience." But she's more likely it was just a visit. You were having a visit from all your loved ones from the other side, and they were telling you, you know, you're not going to get to go until until God's ready to take you. You don't get to decide for yourself.
So when you woke up from this, did you feel where was your depression level? And
well, of course, once again, I felt like I had failed again. Like, oh my gosh, I can't even do this.
But did you still feel, because I remember talking to you shortly after this, and you said, oh, I'll never try to kill myself again.
Well, that's true. I'll never do that because because after that, I'd been told no matter what I do, there's no way I'd be able to kill myself because I'll just live through it. You know, I'll either be saved or I'll stop bleeding, or my blood will coagulate, or I'll throw up.
So, do you feel now like you have like a renewed sense of purpose? Like, do you feel...
definitely after that, I got a renewed sense of purpose. And so the nun, the Mother Superior, it was Mother Andrea from the Catholic Church. And the funny thing was so she got to know me because she started having lunch with me every day. And she was so happy that, that I was coming out of the coma. And she's like, you seem to be such a decent, young man at the time. Why are you doing this to yourself? What? And I told her, and she told her about how, the bond with my mother was, that hole in my heart was just too great. And she told me, what you need? You need a good program. You need to get into a program to help you just to if anything, just to get to know who you are. And so she's all, what if I told you I could get you into a 1-year program where you study the Bible every day, you eat good food, you live in a house, and you work at the thrift store. Yeah. They had several thrift stores. Yeah. And so I told her, yeah, whatever you... And the funny thing was this is a Catholic nun sending me into a Christian home. Yeah. So if that's not intervention of God, I don't know.
Well, and I remember that you came to stay with me in between.
Oh, that's right, because I was waiting to be, so I had to be selected, so she got me the process, she got me the interview, the Mother Andrea got me the interview, but, so I still had to wait for that, and that's when I came to stay with you finally. Yeah. After all was said and done, I came to stay with you for like a week or two. Yeah, until 2 weeks until I could get into that program. Yeah. And of course and you remember how nervous I was? I was all like, oh God, you guys, you think I'll get in? I hope I get this. I hope I get in. And I got in. Yeah. And the interview went really good. And she actually spoke on my behalf. She met me there. The Reverend Mother Andrea met me there. And she spoke on my behalf because I was still like just so weak and out of it still. But yeah, so that was, so what I got out of all that was that, if you're here, like certain people are here to fulfill a prophecy, a destiny, to fulfill a lot of people have like something that they have to fulfill.
So you feel like our free will isn't really that free?
No, in my case, I don't have whatever I have to complete. I don't have the free will to end my life yet because I tried to him and God won't let me. So free will, or whatever, Spirit won't let me. Spirit won't let me.
So free will only works within the your life plan or your blueprint. So.
You have free will as far to a certain extent, but I think in my case, I was on the trail and then I venture off the trail. Yeah. Then I get slammed back on the trail. Find my way back.
Are you on the trail now?
Yeah. No.
Do you know what the trail is?
Well, yeah. I know I want to help people in a bigger way. Excuse me. I want to help people on a broader scale. That's why I'm glad we have this YouTube forum that we can use.
Well, I appreciate you sharing your story because I think that might help a lot of people.
I hope so. I mean, suicide solves nothing. I would never attempt suicide again. The next time you hear of anything like that happening to me, it's going to be from natural causes.
So we'll have to call. We'll have to call the police investigators.
Oh yeah, something. Yeah.
You're like, this is nefarious.
It could have been my sister-in-law. Everybody. Just kidding. I like picking on her, but I really love her.
I think with our time limit, we're just about done. Is there anything else that you wanted to say about your experience?
No, it's about roundabout about what it was all about.
But overall, it was a positive experience.
Well, yeah, it made me want to live. It reinvigorated my whole way of thinking. I just, and it made me. I mean, I didn't like the part about being ripped away from my family and friends in heaven. That was the most unfair part of all.
So you would describe it as being heaven?
I think it was definitely like I was on the fringe. I was on the fringe of where heaven starts or where life here ends and heaven starts. There's like a fine thin veil.
Yeah, I wonder if you had to go through the fourth dimension. That's where all those scary things were to get to the higher realms.
Whatever those things were, I wanted to help them. I felt sorry for them. Yeah. I felt bad for whatever those entities were. Mm-hmm. They were in agony. They were screaming for help. They were in pain, and I don't know what those souls did, if they were even souls. I don't know what they were, but at first I was a little shocked, but then I was trying to communicate with them. I couldn't communicate with them because they were just all moaning and in agony. And I felt sorry for whatever those were. I felt sorry for them, and I hope none of us end up in a place like that, whatever it was. I hope but it was just waterfalls of that.
Yeah.
It was scary because it was just waterfalls. But at first I was scared, but I felt sorry for whatever it was.
Well,
anyway, I can go on hours and hours about that.
I know I would sit here and listen to you for hours and hours, but we have time limits.
Yeah.
So with that, I thank you for sharing your story.
You're welcome.
And I love you.
I love you.